We talk to the legends of the creative and entertainment industries. We talk to those on the rise. Lance Dean Anthony Nielsen asks about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. This is Outcast Creative, and this is Industry Interviews.
Hello, welcome to the first of 4 industry interviews over the next 2 weeks. I've got another one on Thursday, I've got another one on Monday, and then another one just after that. And I may be fitting in a couple more, still trying to pin down some dates for people. So this one came about very spontaneously, and you know what? Sometimes that's the best. I am an acting coach, as a lot of people will know, as well as working as a writer-director. And sort of all things in between the creative industries. And I've worked in the film industry for a long time, 1997. And the point of this channel is to support and also identify up-and-coming creatives that might need support. And also people that I think are interesting. And I'm always looking for new talent. I'm always looking for actors that stand out, be it because I've seen them perform in something, or it might be that they've done a post on social media which interests me and tells me something about their character. That would be the case with the young man that I'm bringing on today, because I'm a member of several different film production and acting Facebook groups, and often independent filmmakers like myself, we look out for people in those groups that might be suitable for something we're casting down the road, or something we're casting right now, or something that a friend is casting right now. I have a couple of friends that are casting things right now. But what's also really interesting about my guest this evening is that they've just moved to London. They're a new actor that's moved to London. London's a big city. They don't know anybody here. And I thought, now that's an interesting topic to explore. What's it like for an actor who's kind of seeking to expand their career, who's seeking to find new work opportunities in an industry which is notoriously difficult to find opportunities in? What's it like for an actor to move to a city, and what sort of things should they maybe doing once they get here, and how can they expand their network of other creatives and so on? So we're going to talk about those kinds of things, as well as how they got started, and of course my usual quick fire questions. And we may also have a surprise guest popping in later. Just quick hello to the chat. Good to see that one of my moderators, Keith, is here. Thanks very much for being here, mate. And also Darth Plato, all the way from the snowy United States. Good to have you here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, people. And if you can share the stream on your social media, I will appreciate it very much. And don't forget to stay on the channel. Anyway, without any further ado, let me bring all the way from, I think, South London currently, but shortly to be moving to sunny Hackney. It's Jackson Ryan, all the way from Dublin, Ireland.
What's the crack, Lance? Thanks for having me, mate.
No, not at all. And you know what? When I did my play Sticks and Stones, one of my actors, I think his name was Keith, kept saying to me in rehearsals when he came in the morning, "What's the crack, Lance?" And I just was like, "What's he talking about? I don't know what that means. What does that mean?" And he explained to me that's kind of like, "What's up? How's it going? Things are going good." It's kind of like that.
Like because
it's a good time.
It comes from Gaelic, because it's what's crack agus ceol. It's like what the stories and music, because ceol is music and crack is stories. So it's like, what's the story?
So it's a bit like, what's the story, Rory? It's a bit like that.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
And if it's someone says it was a good crack last night, they're kind of saying last night's going to be a good tale to tell some other time.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. We thought we'd incorporate a little Irish lesson into this stream.
Right.
Well, listen, Jackson, welcome to the Outcast Creative channel. Thanks for agreeing to come on. It was just pure chance that I happened to catch your post, as I'd lost my Facebook for a week. And when it was restored, that was one of the first things that scrolled up on my timeline.
Yeah.
It happened to be your post in, was it Actors UK? Was it?
I believe so, yeah.
Actors UK. We'll come back to that post, and we'll come back to Facebook groups and their uses in a minute. What I'm going to do, though, is start this interview in the traditional way. I always have a load of quick fire questions that I fire. So just give me the first answer that comes into your head. There's no right or wrong answer. This is just to give a sense to us how a man of your age, which is your 20s, what sort of culture upbringing they've had, what kind of films have influenced them, things in the media, stuff like that. So what was the first movie that your folks took you to see on the big screen?
I think it was the Titanic.
James Cameron.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, not A Night to Remember, which came out in 1956. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Titanic, yeah.
Titanic. Okay. Do you know how old you were when you saw that?
I think I was literally like 4 months old.
Oh, really? They took you as a baby?
Yeah.
And you've got like some memories of that. That must have been.
I remember seeing the screen, and I remember like the music in particular because it made me really sad.
James Horner's score for that is really haunting.
Yeah.
And I've got very specific memories attached to that film, and that's a whole rabbit hole that I won't go down now. But yeah. Okay. What was the last movie that you went to see on the big screen?
Last one I can think of was what did I see? I saw oh god, brain fart. The last movie I saw in the cinema was Lance, I don't know. I was only there a couple of weeks ago as well. I saw. Do you remember what
the film was about?
I went to see actually a short film premiere in Picture House in Leicester Square. I went to see a short film called Beth Complex.
Okay. Well, yeah. What was the last feature film that you paid for a ticket to go and see before that? Would it have been? It could have been Oppenheimer or Barbie.
Oh no, I go very regularly. So it would have been like literally in December. I just can't even remember what it was.
Okay, but you go regularly.
I literally go like twice a week. I just haven't been since I've moved over because I'm like still kind of.
Can you think of a couple of the last films you saw when you were in Ireland on the big screen? Doesn't matter
like
if the order's wrong.
Yeah, like I mean, I saw Sinners and I saw Eddington and I saw Sinners, Eddington. I saw Honey Don't, I think, with Margaret Qualley. I saw like that was all within over the summer, I think, and Sinners was like April, May.
Oh. Have you got a male actor that you look up to, that you've seen in films, and you know, I'd like to have a career like that, or you look up to their acting ability?
Yeah, quite a few. I really
throw
like
a couple of names.
Robert Pattinson at the moment. I think he's killing it.
I just saw him in a movie that ended about 10 minutes ago on Amazon. Yeah, is it a really weird film with Johnny Depp called Chasing Barbarians or something, when they're in the French Foreign Legion in the middle of the desert, and they kind of play commanders, and Johnny Depp's crazy, and Robert Pattinson comes to take over from him, and Mark Rylance is in it as well.
Yeah, Pattinson's doing some really cool stuff at the moment.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean Matt Damon. I love like the Bourne Supremacy films. Love them.
Yeah. I saw those with my dad.
Yeah. I mean, so many. God, like I mean, Johnny Depp, Brad Pitt, all the main guys, Leo DiCaprio, Tom Cruise, all the guys. Like action films for me, action and then comedy. I'm liking a lot of Glenn Powell stuff at the moment as well.
Can you tell me which film the line "The Irish Have Landed" comes from? It's from a major feature film, and the character, the full line, he says, "I couldn't believe it. I had to see it with my own eyes. The Irish have landed." That's the it comes from Braveheart.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Okay,
Braveheart. Currently available on the Disney Channel, I think, and you can watch it without any adverts in, which is a godsend compared to Amazon.
I'm trying to get my girlfriend to watch Braveheart at the moment, but yeah.
It's a very accessible movie. That's like anyone can sit down and watch that film. Pure entertainment, historical bollocks, but pure entertainment. Is there a TV show that you've watched, doesn't matter, British, American, whatever, more than one season, or a really strong miniseries where you've watched it and it's been like, God, I have to watch the next episode. And then when it's finished, as an actor as well as a viewer, you've kind of stepped back and gone, oh God, I'd love to be in something like that.
Yeah, really recently I just finished watching season 1 and 2 of Brassic.
Yeah,
and I think the writing that Joe Gilgan, I believe, I think it's so funny. It's very much my style of TV, where it's exaggerated characters in really silly situations, and then you know, some heartfelt punches. So that was something that I watched and am watching quite recently. That while I was watching, I was like, excuse my French, I'd love to be in that.
You can swear, because my channel's not for children. You can swear, that's fine.
Well, yeah, I'd fucking love to be in something like that. Yeah.
Anything else?
For TV, what else? I started watching a lot of like anthology animation shows, like The Secret Level, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we've talked about quite a few of those. One of my guys, Critic Al, who's on my weekly review show, he just watched a TV show. He said it's the best science fiction animation he's ever seen. It's one of these Japanese ones. And one of my other presenters, Anna, is in the chat. If you could ask Al what that show was, pop it in the chat for me, because the title's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't want to get it wrong. Oh, I think it might be Pantheon.
Okay.
I think it's called Pantheon, and it came out in 2022. Stick that on the list of things to watch, because people are raving about it. Okay, enough with the quick fire questions. Let's get on to you. So you've recently arrived in London.
Yeah.
You've got a few credits behind you. You've done a few short films, Girls and Boys, Little Dream Boy, Dissonant. Then you've also got Wheel of Fortune. You've got a few shorts on there. You only started acting a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You've also just done an episode of Harry Wild, which is a pretty prestigious show, which is sort of a Jane Seymour kind of vehicle. I haven't seen it, and I know that the episode with you in is not out yet. Because you played the guest character in. But for anyone who wants to look it up, this is the show here. Harry Wild, do check that out. And we're going to see Jackson in that real soon, and he got to do scenes with Jane Seymour and all kinds of things. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I want to go back a bit further. How did it start for you? Because you didn't start acting as a kid. You started acting, like I said, 2 years ago. So you're already in your 20s. What was the catalyst for that? Just talk us through it. And did you do anything when you were younger at all, or was it just a bug?
I mean, I had wanted to be a footballer my entire life, pretty much, and I played it from being like 9. I played football with the intention of like, oh yeah, I'm going to play in the highest leagues and get paid like $1 million a week and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Right.
That didn't exactly happen, but I was very intent on that up until I was literally about 24, 25, when I kind of had a objective look at how it was all going and decided this isn't really happening the way I wanted to. And I played at a decent level in Ireland, but just not where I wanted to be. So I just packed it in. And can I dig a bit further on that? Because that's interesting, because we've never had someone come on and say they were going to do professional football and they changed to acting. Yeah.
When you say you weren't where you wanted to be, was that in terms of where you were placing in a semi-pro team or whatever? Was it you assessing your own skill level compared to higher level players? How do you make that decision that, okay, maybe, you know, I need to take a step back and do something else? Through that bit.
So I had to be really, really direct and like cut the bullshit in terms of like, okay, what are the like, I like statistics. So what are my statistics for what I'm actually doing? Like, am I actually, is there signs that things are going the right way, all that kind of thing? And like the first thing you said, how I was placing in semi-professional teams, I had played for some pretty nice teams in Ireland, like Shelburne and Bows and that kind of thing, but I wasn't really getting the confirmation that I was good enough to excel at that level. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't really getting in. I wasn't getting in the way I wanted to. And that made me just kind of look at it and realize that I don't know if my heart was ever really fully 100% in it, because I wasn't even really committing to training as much as I should, or eating like I should, or being passionate, showing the amount of passion that you would need to show in order to fulfill that kind of objective, you know, that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a look at that and I realized that I didn't really have my heart fully in it. So I decided to cut my losses and go, okay, now let's figure out what I do have my heart set in. And then I had a conversation with my dad, who was always very, very open and honest with me and that kind of thing, to our own detriment sometimes with our conversations. But he was very honest with me, being like, you know, you've always been an entertainer as a kid, and you always liked, you know, performing at family stuff. And, you know, when you were 10, he was like, oh, I don't know if you remember, but I still have footage of you as a 10-year-old performing in a musical, and you were doing an English accent, and you're doing all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, and it was in Oliver. I was playing Dodger. And then he showed me that video, and I was like, fucking hell, yeah, I loved that experience. And then I just washed it away after, because I was like, oh, I'm not doing that, though. I want to do football, you know?
Right.
So we spoke about that. And then I checked out some stuff around Ireland, around like Dublin, for acting stuff. And I found a cool school and went to there, and then just kind of went with it.
What was the acting school in Dublin?
Bow Street Academy.
I have heard of that, actually. I believe I believe at least one actor that I've worked with has gone there. Yeah,
there's some few names from it lately in the last little bit. Like the main guy for Night of the Seven Kingdoms, Peter Claffey, he was Bow Street. There was Niamh McCormack.
Yeah. Funnily enough, Anna, my cousin, has said fellow Irish actor Peter Claffey seems to have made a successful shift from playing union rugby to acting with the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Niamh McCormack from House of Guinness. Barry Keoghan used to film in what Bow Street old premises was the factory before it became Bow Street. Barry Keoghan used to spend a lot of time around there as well, you know. So there's some cool names. Yeah.
Right. And talk us through the process of that. Did you have to audition to join Bow Street?
Yeah, so you basically apply, and then you get an interview. If you get an interview, they invite you for that. It's like a 15-minute interview, I believe it was. And then they kind of just assess over the next few days. And I found out very quickly, I didn't have to audition. I know for some of their courses, I think you do.
Right.
I didn't. And then because I think because I was only doing the part-time, there's like a year-long course, and then there's a 6-month course, and I was just doing the 6-month.
This is their website, which I'm going to chuck in the chat for the benefit of anyone who may watch this later, who may be based in Ireland. Do you know which course that you did? Or
if you scroll up to the top of that there, it should be on the right, the 6 months part-time, that one. Right,
okay.
Yeah.
And what sort of cost is someone looking at to do that course, if you don't mind sharing that information?
I believe it was 3,200.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, not a small sum of money, but not like an unobtainable chunk of cash. And I presumably you don't have to pay all of that in one go.
Yeah, I believe they have a few ways for you to finance it if you're not able to do it in one bash. I think they're pretty understanding, depending on people's situations. Yeah.
So talk me through that. 6 months part-time on a weekly basis consists of you having to do what?
Yeah, so we on the part-time, you have 2 days a week, and you would spend 3 hours each day, so 6 hours a week. And we would do a lot of theory for the first like 2 months of that. We were doing theory and kind of fundamental understandings and teachings of the guy who basically founded the whole thing, Jerry Grinnell. He's quite a renowned like voice coach and teacher for some really big, like you can see some of his like some of the guys he's worked with, Heath Ledger, Cruise, I think Bruce Willis, that kind of thing. He's pretty renowned for that kind of stuff. So you'd be dealing with a lot of his theories and foundational kind of teachings, and it'd be you'd be dealing with that, and then it would go into more screen acting and filming little scenes and dissecting them in groups and chatting with each other and advice or critiques or that kind of stuff, you know. So for me it was great because I got to get the like foundational camera confidence, because I'm all fine to talk and mess and joke, and then I like my first few times someone put a camera in front of me and I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, so it taught you some basics like blocking and where to have your eye line and that kind of stuff.
Just being confident as well, knowing
Yeah.
that like it doesn't actually fucking matter what the fuck you look like and not whatever. Just do the scene and that kind of thing, you know. Yeah, some really good stuff.
I'm going to save questions from people normally towards the end, but I think this one's relevant now.
Yeah.
For Jackson, what's a hard lesson you had to learn early on in the acting business? Maybe that you moved to London. I don't know.
A hard lesson. I don't know, like hard lesson. I guess a hard lesson was like, I mean, I am still only acting 2.5 years, but I guess a hard lesson would be, oh, I thought I was the shit. So I was like, you know, I'll start this acting business and in 2 months' time I'll be on, you know, I'll be on the red carpets already. So it was a awakening to be like, oh yeah, everything goes much slower than what I thought it did in this industry. I thought
it's also a very big pond, and you're a small fish in a very big pond with a lot of other people. A
brand new fish just entering the pond, literally.
Yeah, which has also got a lot of sharks in it that you got to be wary of.
You got to be careful.
We'll get on to some of them later. Okay. So all right. So you did the course for 6 months. It improved your confidence. It taught you some technical things.
Yeah.
I think. Did that also get you some of the short films that you did as a result of doing that course? Did that make you some connections?
Yeah, one of the really good things about Bow Street is that you get a lot. If you put your best foot forward, you make some really good connections, and you make some friends that are also in that creative sphere. So you can reach out to them, work with them, do workshops with them, and also just do like if you want to do some scene work, you can do that with them. So because I started building up confidence on that course, then I like grew the balls basically to reach out to, you know, casting calls and stuff like that. Because before I didn't even know where to look, what to send, what I was supposed to do. Like I didn't know fucking anything. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know I had to have a certain level of headshot, or like I didn't know I had to be looking for certain things. I thought I could just be like, hey, I'm an actor. Pay me, you know.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously you've got to have good headshots. You need a show reel as well. Now, sometimes you might need a voice reel if you want to, target voiceover work. It's very important to have both of those things. Do you have a show reel yet?
I have a show reel, but it's not very good. I'm waiting on a lot of stuff to come forward.
Right. So that is the wrong answer if someone asks you that question.
It's the honest answer. It's the honest answer.
I know. And we're talking about it live, and it's fine. But you need to get the bits that you're waiting for. You've got to get them as soon as you can, because I can't tell you how important a show reel is. And also, this is something that I tell people, because I've run acting workshops. I've done lots of tutoring. This is stuff I've done since the 90s. Okay, so I've been around a bit. And show reels, relatively speaking, are a relatively new thing. Back in the day, you had to get a VHS through the post, right? So we're talking sort of digital show reels are kind of like, I suppose, probably from the early 2000s, mid 2000s onwards, and then it was a while before they could go up online because the internet was still in its infancy. So really, the last 15 years is when you've been able to send someone a digital reel. And of course, then the pandemic changed the way casting was done with self-tapes.
Yeah.
So with your show reel, let's say you've got 3 scenes to put on your reel, right? You've got one that you're really happy with, 2 that you think are okay. But one of the ones that's okay is from a bigger, more well-known production. Which of those 3 do you think you should put on first?
I would always lean with your best work first.
Absolutely, 2000% correct. Because most casting directors, and indeed directors or anybody that's watching it, you can assume that they haven't got time to watch it and hope that they do. And the chances are, even if it's only 2.5 to 3 minutes long, they're probably only going to watch the first scene. And if they don't see your best work in the first scene, they sure as hell ain't going to watch the next scene, even if the first scene is in an indie film and the next scene is one line in Avatar 4. They ain't going to see the line in Avatar 4 if it's not as good as the stuff you've done in the indie film, you know.
Yeah.
Plus, if you're a blue alien, people can't really tell what's going on. So
not really, no.
No. So absolutely, you got to have a cracking scene at the beginning. So when you've done these bits and pieces, the shorts and stuff, as you said, you made some contacts.
Yeah,
I think you've done 4 or 5 shorts. Did they all come through that network, or did you reach out and find some people? This was all stuff in Dublin?
Yeah. So a lot of, ironically enough, a lot of it came to me after it. I always found that when I would reach out for certain things, sometimes I would hear back for it, and then more often than not, I would be approached to do something from somewhere completely sideways. Like, you know, I did a stage play called The Last Incel, and from that, 2 or 3 different directors then approached me and asked me to be in their short to do things, you know. So I was like, oh, it's interesting. I found a lot of the time when you got work and people saw what your ability was, then they would just straight away just approach you and be like, hey, we want you for this, or blah blah blah, you know.
That would have been a play. Was that in like the Gaiety in Dublin, one of those small theatres?
So the Smock Alley, we had a week run that sold out, and then we brought it to the Edinburgh Fringe for a month and we sold out, and then we brought it to London in Pleasance Theatre in May last year, and it did really well as well.
It's so annoying. I could have seen you on, if we'd known each other, I could have seen you on stage doing this last year. I think this would be this is the show that I do love StreamYard. We can just do this. This is the show I think we're talking about. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the one there, and that's me.
Yeah, man, looks like you've stepped on a really spiky bit of Lego. Tell us, so this was something you auditioned for, presumably, a project that you got involved in?
Yeah, funny enough circumstance again. I had an improv tutor in Bow Street at the time, who we didn't catch each other's names because I only had him for 1 class. But he approached the school looking for me, and he couldn't remember my name, so he didn't know what to say. And then I saw he put up a casting call on like a network, and I just really liked the script, and I emailed it and was like, hey, blah blah blah, I'd love to audition. And when we met at the audition, we both looked at each other and were like, oh, it's you. And he was looking for me, and I loved the thing, so it just kind of clicked, and it was kind of perfect. That's always
quite handy when that happens. 5-star reviews across the board. And it was a project that took you to Edinburgh, which it will surprise you to learn this. I've never been to the Edinburgh Festival, and this is coming from someone who's produced and directed 17 plays.
Yeah.
And the problem is the plays have always been too big to take to Edinburgh. So taking a play up to Edinburgh with like more than 3 people in it is, you know, an act of folly unless you happen to be rich and loaded with lots of money.
Yeah.
But was that the first time you'd ever been to the Edinburgh Fringe?
Yeah, it was the first time I'd ever done any theatre things at all. And then when we went to the Fringe, then first time was in Edinburgh Fringe. I knew nothing, so I was woefully and blissfully ignorant. But it didn't harm me at all. If anything, it just gave me really gall and confidence to not care. You know.
How many people were in the play?
There was 4 of the male actors were playing 4 incels, and then we had Justine Stafford was playing Margaret, and she was our female co-star then. So there was 5 actors.
Okay.
And that was written by Jamie Sykes. He's a great writer.
And what kind of audiences did you get in Edinburgh?
We got some amazing audiences, and then some nights you'd get like we did really well to fill our room every single night. But sometimes, depending on the demographic, like you might just get people that thought, because it is a dark comedy, and I think some people think that it would be like a more easygoing, and they'd be coming in drunk, and then when they hear the topics and like the subject matter, they were like, oh God, and they were a bit shocked by what is being said and what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a stand-up
No.
situation. It was it was a dramatic narrative.
Yeah.
Humor. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So as a result of this, was this what? Because you have an agent in London, which is good.
Yeah.
Is this what got you the London agent?
No, the London agent I signed with TTA about 7 or 8 days ago. And that was I got in touch with them. I got in touch with Tilly. Tilly got in touch with me then after I sent an initial email, and she was like, "Oh, I love all your stuff that you've done so far. Do you want to have a meeting and we can just discuss things and meet each other and that kind of thing?" And then we got on really well. I thought she was really enthusiastic and someone I'd like to work with. And she very quickly was like, "Look, I really want to work with you. So let's be a team." And I was like, "Great." So it was kind of, again, just really fortunate. Only a few days here and I booked my English agent, you know.
Because you already had an agent in Ireland.
Yeah, Alex Cusack.
I'm guessing that agent was the person who got you the casting for Harry Wilde.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Just talk us through how that came about and what you had to do for the audition. Was it a self-tape, etc.? And then just tell us a bit about the experience of working on the show.
Yeah, so that audition I did in late August. That came through from another Irish casting director, Amy Rowan, I believe, and did the audition. Loved the audition, had a lot of fun. Really funny story about the audition is I actually got literally punched in the face during the audition by mistake, complete accident, but because we're supposed to be like messing around. And
you were doing a scene with someone else and you accidentally got punched in the face.
I ran up to I did something that I shouldn't have done, and we weren't prepared. We hadn't staged anything. I just was like, right. No, let's just do it. And I so yeah.
I mean, that obviously made the casting memorable. So okay, so it was an in-person audition, which is nice because
that was a self-tape. That was a self-tape.
Oh, that was you got punched on the self-tape.
I got punched on the self-tape and I didn't send it obviously because I got like walloped. So I did it again and then I sent the self-tape. And I didn't hear from it for like a month and like maybe 6 weeks. And then randomly then I got it and I was like, "Oh."
So can I just clarify, did you get cast on the self-tape alone? You didn't then, it wasn't a two-stage process. You didn't then go in for a meeting and we're in the room and read a scene.
Yeah, just the self-tape alone.
I mean, that's interesting to hear because that is happening a lot now.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so you my understanding is about the show is you were sort of the guest character for that episode. Is that right?
Yeah, like I don't think I can say a whole lot about it.
No, don't tell us about the plot, but because I'm sure you were under NDAs and stuff. But what was the experience like of working on the show, and how was it working with Jane Seymour?
That was great. Yeah, Jane's amazing. Jane's so full of life and just full of chat and stories, and like she knows what she's doing. You know, she's ultra professional, and I had a great time. When I came in at first, I was very cautious of like I don't want to over assert myself, and like
no, of course, which was the right attitude, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to just kind of let people kind of come to me so that I could feel free to ask questions. So I just kind of sat there and was like smiling. But then once Jane started asking me things, then I was like, "Okay, Jane, tell me about everything. Your experiences. Tell me blah 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 blah." And she was just
talk to me about Live and Let Die, Roger Moore. That would be my question.
And he told me some really funny things about that, which I don't know if I could say that either because she's
no, that's fine. Don't say that. Don't say those now. But you and I will be going down the pub to discuss those.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Well, let me. We're very honoured today because I asked a special guest of mine from the industry who's done interview with me before, and indeed is one of my longest work colleagues in the industry. It's my casting director, SHARON Sorrentino, is in the house.
Hello.
Hey, yeah.
Can we just check your audio's all right?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. You're a little bit low, but we can hear you. Also, can you sit up slightly? Because your name is going right across your... There we go. Fantastic.
And we can see it's my huge glasses in my nose, so I look more like an owl than ever.
That's... you. Listen, you want to see my reading glasses, which I'm not wearing right now because I refuse to wear them in any kind of public setting whatsoever, but they're even bigger than those. So, SHARON, meet Jackson.
Hey,
And Sharon, thank you so much for popping on the show again.
thanks.
It's great. It's great to have you back, and it's great to have a casting director of your experience and caliber coming on and sharing some knowledge with Jackson, who is relatively early in his career. So just to bring you up to speed, he's an actor in his 20s. He's only been acting for 2 years. Started in Dublin, did a 6-month course at the Bow Street Academy, if you've heard of them before.
Yeah.
Our Sir Dunk from The Night of the Seven Tails also went there a couple of years ahead of him. So they've been churning out some pretty good talent there. And he made some connections through that, did a few short films, got in a cracking play, which went to Edinburgh, which had 5-star reviews across the board. And has now arrived in London a couple of weeks ago. Got a London agent, as you know, because I told you about the agent yesterday.
Yeah, I had a look at your spotlight and watched
Cool.
your show reels and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So have you got any advice for? I mean, he seems to be doing all the right things and making all the right moves. But
You know, you've been in an episode of Harry Wild, which I have to say I love.
Oh, deadly.
I've watched 4 seasons of it so far. I absolutely love it. Love a cop show, love a detective, love an authoress who is in fact solving crimes better than her policeman's son. It's brilliant.
I've never seen it.
You have to. You have to. I mean, you know, I love a cop show. I love a detective. It's either got to be a cop show, detective, or vampires for me to actually want to watch it. Other stuff I watch because I have to, but that's the stuff I want to watch. But it's so lovely.
Obviously, you know as well as I do that Jackson would be not. I don't want to use the word foolish, but maybe naive to depend on his agent alone at this stage of his career to let all the jobs come rolling in. What other things can he be doing?
So
to expand the work opportunities?
Sure. I mean, the thing is nowadays it really has to be. I mean, your relationship with your agent, and you've got 2, so because you've still got Alex in Ireland, haven't you? So and TTA Tilly's great. And there's Jude, and I think Nathan, and I've suddenly forgotten the other name.
See, Sharon knows everyone, even the assistant. She knows everybody.
They're a really nice team. I've dealt with them a lot. So what I'm saying is basically it has to be a working partnership, your relationship with your agent. So, you know, you need to be putting feelers out as much as they are, because your agents, and I say this to all actors, your agents are working far harder for you than you will ever realize. So, you know, as soon as they take someone on new, they will be reaching out to casting directors, to producers, to directors that they know, saying, hey, I've just taken on this new client, blah, blah, blah. When you're in something that, you know, like a play, they will want, or a screening of something, they will want to take people to see it. So they're already going to be trying to build your network of people that are going to go, oh, you know who would be good for this role. But you also have to be doing that. And something that I always say is worth doing, and it's a double-edged sword, is the mail out. Now, a mail out is something that no one wants to receive, but it's important. And the reason is your mail out might hit for example, inbox on the right day. And it has happened. I've called people in who have emailed me and I've gone, you know what, actually, didn't know you before, but you'd be great for this thing I'm working on right now. And if not for right now, if I think they look interesting, they go into a file for interesting actors to remember when there's another project that they might be suitable for. And we all do that. Yeah. So much as we don't want to be inundated, we are inundated. So you may as well be doing it too, because every other actor is doing it, you know, and it just has to be succinct. I would suggest you write to people when you've got something for them to see. So like when you know that your episode of Harry Wild is coming out, that's when you email. Okay.
Great piece of advice.
Yeah. Just don't miss the opportunity. Do you know what I mean? Don't let it be a case of I'm here, I'm ready to work. But if you can say, you know, if you're able to catch it, I'm going to be in, you know, Tuesday's episode or whatever, you know, I'm going to watch everything.
Dropping in a week.
Exactly. Yeah. You tell them when it's on, where it's on, and so that they can see you. You know, if there's anything you think I'd be suitable for, blah, 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 you let them know that you're based here now. but you can also be based in Ireland if that's helpful.
Exactly.
Always let people know, stuff like that, and who you're represented by. So they know how to, well, I mean, we all use Spotlight anyway, but it's always good to just link your Spotlight CV in your email, not your PIN number, your actual CV. So you can email it to yourself.
Okay.
Copy that link, stick it in there.
Yeah.
Because it's just helpful, and just make sure that those emails are succinct. No one needs to know why you started acting. No one needs to know if it's to honor your granny or your dead cat. We don't need to know. You know what I mean? But what we do need to know is, I'm in this episode. It'll be on. Please watch. Or I'm going to be in this play. I'd love you to come and see. I will organise comps if you can make the run. So it's something very, very specific.
Yeah.
To invite them to. But honestly, I would just say do it. Don't do it every month. Don't mail every month. I've had that before, and I'm like, I really don't need a newsletter.
Another thing I would suggest, maybe to add some more ammunition to that, is, in addition to the timing of your Harry Wilde episode coming out, which is very fortuitous, not everybody has that, but in your case you do. So to make maximum use of it, the other thing I would do is I would identify 10 casting directors that have cast something that not only you're interested in being in, but you can see that there's likely at least a chance to there might be a role for someone like yourself in the future. So, for example, if the show Kin was still running, which it's not, but if it was, that would be a show I would immediately target in your case, because you're an Irish actor of a certain age with a certain look. That's a show about, big Irish families and gangs and policemen and so on. And you could tick any number of those boxes. So if that letter can be framed with, hi, blah, da, 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 please catch me in a week's time in the latest episode of Harry Wilde. And just as a side note, I've noticed you also cast my favourite show, blah, blah. I really love that show. And if there's anything for me in the next season of that is something I would love to be seen for.
Yeah.
I think it's worth doing that extra research, because also, I'm sure Sharon will agree with this, casting directors quite like to know that you know what they've cast and you're paying attention to their job,
Not just, it's not just for us. It's not because we're grand, because I would say most of us are really not. I think it's more about knowing your audience. So, if you're going to do a mail out, you don't send it to everybody. You don't do a round robin. When I say round robin, not everybody knows what I mean. What I mean is you don't send one email and BCC everybody, because that'll go in the bin. Nobody's going to read that. You can tell that there's no effort has gone into that.
Yeah, you've got to make it a little bit personal.
It has to be a little bit personal.
Yeah.
In that, if you want TV work, you are sending it to TV casting directors. If you want some theatre work, then you email theatre casting directors, and that is a bit of research on your part. Now, for screen work, it's much easier because we're all on IMDb. Everybody's on IMDb.
Yeah.
As soon as a program is allowed to share that information, bam, it's on there. So, like Lance is saying, your favourite shows, those are the people to write to. There's no harm in doing a big mail out when Harry Wilde's going to drop, but specifically, do make it pointed for some of those individuals.
Yeah.
Other things that Jackson could be doing in his downtime, Sharon, and you'd probably be better to give the answer here, but a lot of actors will increase their skill set, and that might be about affecting the most important accents, and it might be good to hear from you what you think the most important accents are that an actor should have in his bag. I've already given Jackson my opinion on that offline. And then another thing that we see a lot of actors doing is going on martial arts, combat courses, firearms training, stuff like that. Of course, we know Dan Stiles, who runs ID Drama, who specifically caters to that market, and there's a couple of other people that do it as well. Is that the sort of thing you should be doing, so you can put those things on his CV? Tell us your views on the accent thing as well.
I will do. So, basically, you want as many strings to your bow as possible, really. So, the thing that I quite often advise well, I say advice, the thing that I suggest people do is, you know, make sure you've got skills that are currently useful and in demand. Now, martial arts is one of them. Motion capture is one of them.
Yeah.
Horse riding, weaponry skills. So with weapons, you need firearms, but you also, well, you don't need firearms, but you need firearm skills, and you need sword and dagger. So if you think about the sort of TV that is made and the sort of films, there's so much sci-fi, fantasy, urban fantasy, where people need these skills. So, you know, I mean, even the stuff that I love to watch, urban fantasy. Like I say, I love the vampires, but they all seem to be martial arts trained vampires. You know,
yeah, always. They've had a lot of time. They're alive.
Yeah.
They've learned a lot of skills, Sharon, in those multiple lives.
But even the ones who are just crawling out of their graves somehow know how to do a backflip.
Yeah.
So, but you know, things like motion capture actually is really helpful because so much is done. As also the games market is huge.
Yeah.
You know, and it can be a nice little sideline for, you know, for actors whilst they're waiting for other things. You know, you don't have to suddenly just become an actor who specializes in being in games, but you know, it's another thing to do. Horse riding is really important. You can't say that you can do it if you can't. You know, riding a donkey when you were a kid is not the same as, you know, as having actual skills. And so much now, you can see all the period dramas and all the fantasy shows, they are all on horseback. Now, anything very dangerous, obviously they'll have stunt teams for, but they love shots where the actual actor is riding in on a horse. You know, it immediately, you then suspend your disbelief. If they have to rely too heavily on the stunt team, you as an audience, even, and I don't mean an industry audience, I just mean a Joe Bloggs audience, is like, yeah, that's not him, or that's not her. And you step back from it, you lose that belief in what's happening. So those are really good skills. Languages, musical instruments, but honestly, things like horse riding, martial arts, weapons, I think are really good. And I do think motion capture is really helpful.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And you were
maybe
saying about
not doing a lesson to learn the harp. I mean, that's probably a bit niche.
well, yeah, maybe not the harp, but you know, being able to strum a guitar is very helpful, I would say. Even you don't have to be, you know, grade 8 pianist, but learning something so that you can convincingly convey is very helpful. You don't have to be an actor, musician, but it's helpful to have some of that. Lance mentioned accents. I mean, nowadays, I think being able to do a number of American accents is really helpful. Loads of actors can do a Southern American drawl, and I would say it's not actually used that often, much as we all love it. You know, it's very north and south. Can't say it north and south. But you know, getting a New York accent, getting a Californian accent, you know, those are quite helpful. It doesn't have to be too Bronxy, but you know, being able to place and the standard, I hate that term, but standard American, where those of us who are not American don't really know you're not American, you know, with that standard, in the same way that, you know, over here we hear term like generic Northern, which I hate, but you watch a TV program and there are plenty of people doing generic North because the rest of the UK doesn't know and everyone else doesn't know. I can hear it.
That's half the cast of Night of the Seven Kingdoms are doing like a generic sort of Game of Thrones Westeros. Oh, we're from up that bit. Northern accent.
But you know,
too specific.
Exactly. They want to kind of not too specific, you know, and those are quite helpful. I mean, you know, for someone who comes from that area, they're always going to say, well, that's not, you know,
that's true.
Accent. True. But if you can get the gist of it, you know, I would say on your spotlight, always make sure your skills are accurate. So, you know, if you RP is a great accent to have as well. So if you've got a good RP, there's also Irish RP, but if you can do them both, they're great to have because it just opens up what you can do. And there are plenty of, you know, accent and dialect coaches that work with actors all the time.
I think it would be good for you to get this picture on your spotlight, Jackson, because this is a good character shot.
Oh yeah, as one of your secondary pictures.
Yeah. And it's because I think you've got 3 at the minute, and one of them is a bit old and it's a black and white one, and you look grumpy in it, which is it's good to have a grumpy villain face.
That was taken 2 weeks ago, lads.
Was it? Well, maybe change that picture, because it's good to have a grumpy villain picture, because you don't want all of them to be for a toothpaste advert. But that's a good one that you've got, and I think if you could get that still from the play without all the reviews on it, just as another grab, that's another great shot of your face to have on there. The more kind of sort of character variety, in addition to the kind of, and the sort of standard black and white. I think so you've got a few other looks on there would be really beneficial for you. Jackson, do you have any questions you want to ask Sharon before she has to scooch off and put noisy child to bed?
I wanted to ask you, Sharon. I wrote it down in my notes. Give me 2 seconds.
Got 20 questions here. No, it's not that many.
No, I wrote a few, but you don't have to answer.
Okay. Just go as quick as you can, and we'll try and cram as many in as we can.
For yourself, any singular or particular audition from someone that stood out, like through everything, like through all the things you've done? Is there something in particular, one audition that you saw that just went, that blew my mind, and I can't believe that they're not doing more, or I can't believe that
there are a few, but I don't think it's fair to name the actors, but I have had auditions where someone has come in and just completely blown the whole team away with what they've done, and sometimes it's just the kind of take they have on the role, because they've thought about it, they've given that character backstory. I mean, especially for me, actors need to come in prepared. Auditions feel very informal, but they are a job interview. And they're an interview for both sides, so you can go into an interview and go, actually, I don't think I like this team. Well, then don't do the job, but it's that's if you're in person. Obviously, I know in person is not as common as they were, which none of us are happy about, but it's just the way of things at the moment. But for me, seeing how much preparation an actor has done, knowing that they have read the full script, that they have read the stage directions, that they know the relationships between the other characters and how that informs them and their character arc, so they can sit there and talk about it. I think that is really good. I think it's nice when an actor has questions in the room, about the project. Not too many, because obviously we don't want the whole thing to just become a chat. We want time to do the scenes and explore them, and hopefully have more than one go. Some directors only really want to go once in the room. I personally try and push towards 2, because I think the first time sometimes an actor feels a little bit like, I didn't quite give it what I should. It was more of a rehearsal, which is why I like to give 2 chances. But you don't always get that opportunity. Some directors talk a lot to say, this is really, really what I want, and they give you all of this information, and then there's only time to do it once, without your without the session running over. So I think just being really, really prepared, knowing that character inside it and out, and really just making the choices for it. And there's a term that we all use that actors hate, and we say, make a bold choice. But the reason we say that is you can't hedge your bets. So if you've read a script and you think, well, actually, this character could be like this, because, so say it's a bad guy. Now, you could read this character and go, well, this guy's not very intelligent. He's not really thinking things through. So he's very reactive. And then you could play him that way. But you could also read it and go, you know what? I think he's the product of a really damaged childhood. I think he didn't get any support, any love. I think he's actually intelligent, but he can't trust people. Those are 2 very different ways to play something, especially if you've not been given enough. Oh yes, I was reading a message.
No, that's right. I'm just putting that up for the audience to see.
Sorry. Completely lost my thread then. Hang on a minute. Sorry. So they're 2 very different ways of interpreting a character. Now you might come in and not be sure what the team want. And if you've prepared both because you weren't sure, you can always say, look, I'm not sure. I thought it could go this way, but it could also go this way. Generally speaking, if we've got the time, we will say, well, that sounds great. Let's do both. But what would you want to do first? What's your gut feeling? And then you explore that. But what you can't do is read it and go, well, he could be actually just a bit of a thug and not very smart. Or he could be really intelligent, but he's got a damaged childhood, and then try and play the middle, because there isn't a middle. That's why we say make a bold choice. So choose it and put your all behind it. Yeah. You know, but you can always ask if you think, I'm just not sure which way it's going, and you can't tell from the script. Sometimes you're only given sides because of confidentiality agreements that are already in place, you know, and they can't share the whole script. Yeah. Sometimes it's sides on arrival, again, because of confidentiality. For me, if possible, I will always send the full script. And if I do, I expect the actors to have read it. Even if you got it the night before, because I read it. I read it. I break down all the characters. I think about who could play it. I go and search from actors that I also don't know. And sometimes I have to do that for a meeting the next day. So if I can do it, that, you know, and we tend to come from that stance. We're like, no, if you've been sent it, read it. Because I have had actors come in and prepare the wrong role because they just didn't read what they were sent. And you're like, and I'm like, oh my God, I spoon feed you on my emails. You know, this is where we're meeting. This is the nearest tube. This is who you're going to be meeting in the room. This is the character. Here's the brief. You know, we're doing these scenes. This is the accent, blah, blah, blah. For them to then go, oh, I was.
Isn't this the audition for Shopping and Effing? Oh, no, that's next door, you know. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, I've had it. So, you know, but it's that really, it's that preparation that makes people stand out. Obviously, there's the, you know, there's the exception that proves the rule. You know, I've also cast someone who completely misread something, came in and did the opposite of what the director had said he wanted. And then the director was like, him, that's who I want. And I'm like, for God's sake. I mean, he was great, but it was like, that is not what you told me. I have prepared everybody with these notes because that's what you said you wanted. And now you're like, that guy was great. And he'd just come back from like a festival and he'd misread it. So it's not that he hadn't prepared. He had prepared, but he had misread the email.
He had prepared, but he was probably hungover.
And he was probably, well, possibly.
Yeah.
But, you know, but
it's a really interesting take.
The thing is, he smashed it. He came in and he was just, he delivered it. And I was thinking, well, that's really great, but that's absolutely not what he wanted. And then the director was like, he was brilliant.
Jackson, what's the next question? Just to get you a few more in.
Thank you. My next one was, you answered one of them. It was going to be, do you prefer in person? And you answered that.
Yeah, we all do. We just don't always get to do it. It really depends on the budget of the production. You know, because renting out space in central London for in-person auditions is very expensive. And nowadays that producers, I would say generally, probably shouldn't say this, but you know, a lot of producers don't really trust us in the way that they once did. So there is,
or it might be that they just want to put that money for hiring space onto their salary.
No, but what I mean is they want to see more people, and they want us to have seen more people. So there is this push for do a round of self-tapes first, and then we'll. So we're having to see things. When I started out, and I was working with the glorious Maggie Lunn, she was bringing in like 5-6 people for a role. That was it. That was your choice as the producer. You trusted her taste and her experience, and that was it. Yeah. Nowadays, it's like, have we missed anybody? Have we missed anybody? Can we just do another sweep? And you're like, well, I can do another sweep, yes, but I know you're going to go back to the first guy I offered you or the first girl. You know, I mean, they might not.
And do you find that's very common, that like the first maybe 2 or 3 suggestions tend to be the ones they go with anyway?
It depends on the show, I would say, but quite often if you're in alignment with what their vision is, you know, I say the casting director, if the casting director is in alignment with what the director and the producer and or network, if they're involved, want for those roles, then it probably is the first few that you send them, you know. It really depends. And you know,
keep going, guys, I've just got to go off script camera for 2 seconds. Keep going.
Okay. No problem. No problem. No problem. Yeah. So it tends to be those first few in your experience if you're aligned with that.
I mean, you know, sometimes also you will get a thing where you know, we will send, obviously we will get more people taping or in person than we send on, because part of our job is that filtering process, is to say, you know, and we only ask actors to do stuff if we think that they could do the job. We don't dismiss that, you know, oh, I was just the filler. Why would we have anybody waste their time to be filler in an audition space? If that person got cast, that's who we brought. We're only as good as the last job we did. And we're same as actors, you know. So
definitely.
So there is none of that. But and we don't want to waste actors' time. We also don't want to waste our own time to have to watch 50 gazillion tapes just because a producer is there anyone else? Who else have we missed? Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else? We kind of want to say these are your choices. But we are employed by them. So there is that thing of, you know, sometimes you just have to see more people. Also, sometimes, you know, you think you've understood what the director and producer want from their notes. Like I say, you know, with that example, I had another one not so long ago where the notes that they gave me were so specific. That is what I passed on to the agents of the actors who taped for me. And they didn't like any one of my first batch. And I was like, but these girls are brilliant. They've done exactly what you wanted, but it was stylized. And then, so that's how it was going to be. That's not what they wanted to see. And I was like, right, okay. So I asked some of those actors to retape and just said, strip it all back, ignore the note about the stylization, which is really hard when you've prepared something like that.
Yeah.
Strip it all back. Would you do it again? You know, and then you kind of then have to do another think and another search. So it really just depends on the project, how many people you see for it. One thing I would say, though, for you and for all actors really, is don't worry about how many other people are being seen for the same role, because only one person can ever get it anyway. And they're, you know, dual cast. But so whether you're up against one other person or 100 other people, on some level, doesn't matter. But you either get the job or you don't. And if you don't, it's not always about you. Lots of other things. So all you can do as an actor is just do your best. Put the work in. And then let go of it, which is quite hard to do, especially if you really want a gig. But you just have to do your best. If it's a self-tape, you do your best. You stick it out into the ether and go, okay, I've done my part. Hopefully they like it. You know?
Sharon, what other things can Jackson be doing
proactively
as an actor sort of newly arrived in London, perhaps in terms of networking? And there's a lot of networking events and things. You know, are there any you know that are worth his time? I mean, it might be worth him going to the London Screenwriters Festival. I know it's a festival for screenwriters, but it's a very good place to network.
I mean, what I would say more than networking events is I would say go to film screenings. So go and see short films that are screening. You know, there's lots of stuff on at the BFI all the time. And the reason I say that is, A, you're seeing work that's being done, but also the directors are going to be there, the casting directors, the producers. So if you are seeing a whole bunch of things and you're like, God, I really liked this one, then you can probably see them. I'm not a huge fan of network events as such, because I've just seen, I've been to a couple where I just saw people sharking the room. And by that, I mean there were people who were pretending, or maybe they were producers, but they were just gravitating to kind of new graduates in a very predatory fashion. And it just made me
chasing pretty girls and that
chasing pretty girls and pretty boys. And I just felt sick. And I was just like, I don't want to be associated with this in any way. And did go have a word with a couple of girls. It's just like, I think now is probably time to be talking to somebody else and not with this guy.
Well, fair play for saying something. Fair play for saying something.
Yeah, just sidle up and try and get in there. But you know, it's hard. People are trying to make an interpersonal, you know, connection, and lines can get blurred. And then the thing is, what happens then? And then somebody feels obligated to something. And I just thought, oh, this is turning into a knocking shop. This is.
I mean, David Wilkinson did a really good one, which was on at that social hub centre in Ealing, the one that's down in the basement, and it's got the big room and the bar, and all of that. And I did actually give him a call today on Jackson's behalf, all part of the service, Jackson. And unfortunately,
you can send me the invoice later, Lance.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, get me a Pinot Grigio and down a pub.
Brand, yeah.
Basically, yeah, because he's battling cancer at the minute, very publicly. So that's he's even doing a documentary on his battle with his cancer. So, which is very typical of David Wilkinson, as to be said, and good on him, fair play. But yeah, he hasn't got another one coming up, sadly, at the minute. I thought there's usually one in the new year, but I think he's got too many other things on, because he did make a point of, it was invite only. You couldn't just turn up. It was invite only. So he would invite sort of proactive actors like Jackson, and he would invite proactive indie directors and producers like myself, Jimmy Boosh, you know, those kinds of people. The tripod guys, and you'd get those kinds of filmmakers there. So there would be people there that were doing projects, as opposed to some other names I could mention that I won't.
Yes.
So I don't know if there's another event like that where someone does a similar filtering process. If there is, unfortunately, I don't know
about that. I think there
are. Screenings is a really good suggestion. Screenings is a good suggestion.
Screenings. You can also do. I mean, you know, these things cost money, and I'm always a bit dubious about saying it, but there are workshops that you can do. So, you know, there are some companies that run workshops for actors. Some of them are with casting directors, some of them are with agents, some of them are with directors. And, you know, you prepare scenes. They will give you scenes in advance. You prepare them, and then they give you notes, and you get to do another one. And so in some ways, it's like having an audition, but it's not an audition. So, you know, we always have a big disclaimer.
Yeah, I've been a guest director on a couple of those for a couple of different companies.
And I would say I think these have a value in that you get to see how people, because usually it's done in a kind of a class setting.
It's a group setting. Everybody auditions in front of each other effectively.
That's what I mean.
There's a benefit. There's a learning benefit to that for sure.
Yeah. So you know, you're watching other people with scenes. You might have chosen the same scene as someone and be watching them and going, "Oh, that's not a choice I would have made. Interesting." And that, I think, is always good for an actor, because it informs you. Watching how someone else plays a part always informs you, because you sit there, you can't help yourself as an actor go, "Oh, really? I wouldn't have done that. I would have stressed the later part of the sentence," or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
I would come at it from this angle. And then, of course, you get to see them be given notes.
Yeah.
Which I think, again, there is a value in that. So
very valuable.
Yeah, that's very reminiscent of the way that Bow Street would conduct their like scene work classes.
Yeah.
It was like everyone has their scene, and then you'd be sitting there and you'd watch and you go, "Oh, I know that scene, and I would have done that so different." But that makes sense. Yeah.
But I think that's really helpful. And then there's usually, you know, time for Q&A at the end. Mine always overrun because I'm a bit too generous with talking.
Yeah, I think you and I have both been guilty of that.
But I think, you know, there are some really good ones out there, you know, that are industry, you know, proper industry professionals are doing them. And I think there is a value. I would say don't do too many. Don't waste, you know, but don't spend all of your money doing that, because at the end of the day,
and read online reviews as well.
Yes. Read online.
There's a few charlatans out there for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
or dial the Lance helpline.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that they actually had, you know, I always feel awkward about them because, you know, we get paid for our time. So there is this thing of, it's not an audition, you're not auditioning for us, but we're kind of helping you learn a bit more about auditioning. But there is also, you know, the other side of it is people have booked jobs from those, because of course sometimes we are seeing actors who we don't know.
Yeah.
And then we're seeing what they do with something and we're going, "Oh, you know what? I don't have anything for them right now," but they're one to remember.
Yeah.
So there is a value in that. So although you're not actually auditioning for them, you are presenting something as though it were an audition, and we are watching it as though it were, even though it isn't.
Yeah.
And you're feeding back, and you're getting in the room feedback that, of course, you don't get when you do self-tapes. You know, well, I do. I mean, I'm very nice, and I give everybody a yes, no, and I always give feedback. You know, I've only on 2 projects not had the time to do it, and had to just do a spotlight message to the agents, and I still feel bad about that. That was 2 years ago, and I still feel bad.
Are you able to say what the projects were?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, I felt bad that I couldn't do the individual, feedback. Not every office does that. You know, not everyone has time. Sometimes you don't hear back from a job for ages and ages, and it's very hard not to get despondent, I would say, or think that they haven't even watched your tape. And I would say that's not. If we've asked you to tape, we've watched it, unless you've sent it in like really late.
Yeah.
In which case, when we might not have watched it because we might be on something else now.
Yeah.
And our time is also limited. We get less and less time for per job.
Yeah, like I've had a really good experience with the Irish casting directors, like like Louise Kiley and all those guys, and Amy Rowan, of course, because of Harry Wilde, and like there's some they're really, I found Louise and her assistants like Elise and all those, they're so in like communication. They're very much like I ran into I went into Elise, one of Louise's assistant casting directors, and she was like, Jackson, and she was like, oh, I saw your tape, loved it, I never got a chance to give you feedback. But so I've had really good experiences, and just only because I am newly here, like I've had requests from Sophie Holland and that kind of thing, but I've never met any of these people or seen them or had conversations. So I'm like, ultimately, they don't know who I am, and I don't really know who they are. I mean, I have a better idea because I get to see their work, whereas they don't really get to see my work. Do you know that way?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it's really, I really appreciate you giving me all this, like, little... It's very good. I did have one more question.
Yes.
We got time for one more?
One more.
I saw that you've been roughly about 20 years doing... Yeah.
Since the dark ages.
So how has like the whole process and the change of it been for you? Do you think it's been a net positive or a net negative in terms of like, obviously you're seeing so many more actors, which is good because it opens the door. Yeah. But then it's like, that illusion of choice when you have so much choice that it's harder to make a choice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it is a good question, and things have changed over the years. I mean, even before COVID, first round self-tapes were becoming more and more prevalent. I mean, back then, before COVID, for me, a self-tape was only if an actor couldn't make the day. And it was like, okay, and some people got hired from them, but generally it was like, it's not great. We'd much rather you were in the room. But then there was that push for, can we see more? Can we see more? And it became a bit more commonplace. Then, of course, COVID happened and everything had to be self-tapes. And I think then a lot of it has remained that way because, again, there's still that pressure to see more people. But also, like some of us, like I have, many of us during lockdown we've just relocated out of London. So I'm not in London anymore.
Sharon, how dare you leave us?
I know. So I'm back in the Midlands, but I do come down, as and when I can. I come down if I'm going to do in-persons. I was meant to be down last week for a screening, but my son very kindly brought home norovirus from school, and then didn't get it himself.
Yeah,
did not get it.
He was just a carrier, and he gave it to you. So generous. So generous of him.
Just say I was not well and it was not pretty. So when I know, we do still come down to see things, just not as often. Obviously, when I was in London, things were just round the corner. Everything's an hour away in London. But I was seeing much more. I've gone on a complete tangent, haven't I?
I was saying over that 20 years. No, don't worry. I do tangents all the time, and if I don't get stopped, I'm gone.
Yeah. It was how it had changed.
The 20 years
If it's better now, or is it, you know, that you're seeing so many more people, does that make it more challenging?
I would say that you can't quantify it in that kind of, is it better or worse? I think the thing is things have changed and things are always evolving. So, you know, actors always ask about self-tapes and, you know, and you know, advice for self-tapes and stuff, you know, stuff like that. And I would say the thing with self-tapes is they have opened things up because we can see more people. Yeah. And so there is a pro and a con, you know. So like I was saying, you know, whether you're against one person or 100 people, only one person's ever going to get that job. So in some ways, you just have to not think about that. But in another way, it means that we can see actors who we don't know. We can give more people a chance, because if you're in the room with a director and a producer and you've only got 4 hours, you got to make sure they get a cup of tea or coffee or, you know, Coca-Cola, whatever it is that they need at some point. You need to give them a break because they can go to the loo, and no one can do a 4 or 6 hour session with no breaks. Because if you don't give them a break, by the end of it, they have no idea who they've seen. They've gone face blind, and they don't think any of the actors were good because they haven't had a chance for their brain to reset. So you actually don't get 4 hours out of a 4 hour session. You also need time to set up and time to leave.
Yeah, you get 3 maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, if you only get, you know, 3.5, say, you know, hours, and those directors like 15 minutes per person, that's not very many.
Yeah, you're going to see 15 people max in that
if
time.
You're doing them at home, if you're doing the self-tapes, a self-tape, you don't get the chat. Yeah. You don't get in and out of the room. You don't, you know, you don't get all the things that just add on. You get somebody doing, you know, 1 or 2 takes of a scene, you know, and if you've said, can you do these 3 or these 2 scenes, you can see more people. So actually, it does open things up. Yeah. And more people are being given the opportunity to be seen because of that. So, you know, I see that as a positive. For sure. But the negative is you are up against more people. So, you know.
I kind of love that. I'm competitive by nature. I want to win at everything I do. So I don't give a flying fuck about. I honestly couldn't give a fuck if there's 10,000 people and all of them are A-listers. I back myself. But I think that's because of football anyway. It's very much a dog-eat-dog thing. So it's easy then when I was doing this, I was like, oh yeah, it's the same thing.
Industry. You know, I think the thing to remember is it's competitive, but it doesn't have to be cutthroat.
Yeah, exactly.
You want working relationships. You know, you want actors who you've worked with to remember you, to say, you know, who'd be good for this role. You know, who'd be great to play my brother in this show. Jackson Wood, who I worked with on that short film 5 years ago. You know, you want those relationships with actors as much as with directors. Directors are very loyal to actors they work with generally. Most directors I know always want at least one actor they've worked with before on each production.
How loyal am I, Sharon?
Hey?
How loyal am I?
Lancey is a very loyal director and a very loyal friend, I would say, as well. So he's very loyal. And I think a lot of directors are like that. I'd be very surprised by a director who doesn't want to work with people they've worked with before.
Yeah, because if you've been collaborative, you know, you want to work with people that made your job easier, you know.
Exactly. And the thing is, you know, how their job and my job differs is I will have Lance has a great mind for actors, but generally speaking, casting directors will have a broader knowledge of more actors, but directors, the actors that they've worked with, obviously they've spent weeks or months with them, so they know them on so much more of a level. So I could suggest an actor to a director who is great, but they're going to go, you know what, we didn't work that well together, you know, to me. And I'll go, oh, that's interesting. They go, no, great actor, but just we didn't have that, we didn't click, or whatever it is. Or they can say, you know what, they would be great, why didn't I think of them? Because when I worked with them on such and such, they just don't look how I saw that role. But now you say, oh my God, they'd be great, you know, but because they know them so much more better. Oh my God.
Intimate. I think, did you mean intimate? Was it?
I did.
Yeah.
So much more better. Oh my Lord.
So much more better. To a greater degree, they know them so well.
Much more good.
More good.
All right, Sharon, listen, thanks so much for giving up some of your time and popping on to meet Jackson informally, and also to contribute to the Outcast Creative Podcast. We've got to have you back in the near near future.
Absolutely.
Discuss some sort of casting and all. You know what? I'd love to get you back on for to discuss AI.
Yes.
Because there was a massive spat about it in the chat earlier. I've got a group chat for all the moderators on this channel, and there was a massive spat about it because someone's just created this trailer for a Nintendo game. And there's also a trailer for the actual film that's been made of that game, and people aren't liking the trailer. And this guy went and took some AI and said, "I'm going to make a better one." And he's made this trailer for $300, and the film's 300 million, and somehow his trailer looks better than their movie. So it's interesting. Some interesting debates coming up there.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the old.
Well, I'm not either, but
I always say thank you to Alexa or Google if they're listening. I always say thank you. I'm very polite. Don't kill me. But yeah, I don't agree with having the virtual actors that that Hollywood.
Well, Sharon, thank you for coming on. Do let me know when you're back down in London, and also while you're here, I'm going to publicly remind you that this year's movie quiz will be number 30.
Wow.
Will be the 30th year. For those people that don't watching, Sharon was team captain for about the first 20 years. And then sometimes she wasn't available, and then she moved away. So it would be great if you were able to come down for that one. I'll try and give you plenty of notice.
We will see.
Because it is the 30th. Yeah. So, good. All right.
Doing them. I just have a little boy who is a lot.
Well, it might be the one where we win the Beast Games money. Who knows? So we'll see. All right. Thanks, Sharon.
What do I do to go other than just turn off?
That's all right. I'll take you out. Don't worry.
You
too, Sharon. Thanks so much.
Soon. Thanks so much.
It.
Hey, Jackson. So there you go. And she gave us loads of extra time there, which was great.
That's so kind of her. Yeah, Jesus, she gave us like 45 minutes, I think. 40 minutes.
Yeah, 45 minutes. Sharon and I first worked together on my first feature film in 1997, where she had a small acting role. In fact, I might have a photograph of her in that piece, just within arm's reach of this desk. If Sharon's still backstage, waiting to see if I pull it out. I won't pull it out today. She just gave me a rude hand gesture, so I feel like I probably shouldn't.
I can imagine.
But she did a small acting role for me in this piece, and it was my first indie film, and that's how we knew each other. And then she kind of diverged away from acting and went into casting, and I think did her first casting job for me, and probably around 1998, 99, something like that. And she's been my main casting director ever since. She hasn't been the only one I've used, but she's done probably about 75% of my projects.
Wow.
So that's how long we've worked together. And like she said, those working relationships are very important. Certainly, I trust her implicitly.
I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? As well, you know.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, I know we've gone a little bit over, but if you're all right for another 10 minutes, before we wrap up, one of the things I did want to touch upon, which I thought would be interesting, because you're in your 20s, you're the younger generation. What kind of you are a bit of a cinephile, because you say you go to the movies fairly regularly. Yeah. What kind of films are you gravitating towards? What are the IPs on TV that you like to watch? And is there anything that's been a big disappointment for you at all?
Yeah. God. Okay. So first part of that, the things I tend to I normally go once or twice a week to cinema. I'll try and see everything. If I can only go once that month, if I'm going, I'm seeing 3 films on that day, back to back, if I can.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I love to pack it in if I can, because it's great to be transported to a whole different thing. I love that. But anyway, I just want to be entertained a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean? I want to be completely removed from the dreary, sometimes dreary reality. And transported to just like, you know, a crazy sci-fi or like a hilarious comedy or like, you know, an amazing world, mind-bending fantasy. Just entertain me, make me laugh, make me cry, like all that kind of stuff. That's what I gravitate.
What maybe a good question to ask then would be, what are the films that you're looking forward to seeing? What are the must-sees for you in 2026?
I think, does Odyssey come out in 2026?
It does, yeah, Matt Damon. That's right.
Yeah,
That's,
Odyssey. I mean, Christopher Nolan's all of his movies. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Odyssey. I think even does Dune again come out? Dune.
I think there is another Dune movie
Coming
on
out.
the way. I'm not clear on the release date. Yeah, there's a third film.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of movies this year in particular that are like, for me anyway, kind of blockbuster-esque coming out. I can't think of them off the top of my head. I know I can remember Odyssey, but I can't think of them off the top of my head.
Have you been to see the new Jason Statham one?
Oh, Shelter, I think it's called.
Shelter, yeah. It's
cool. I think that was filmed in Ireland, I think.
Was it?
I think so.
I mean, when I think back to the trailer, now that you say that, and I think of the visual shots, I think you might be right. Talking of June, my friend, fantastic actress, I haven't spoken to her ever since my phone got hacked and I lost her number, but SHARON Duncan Brewster was in the first June.
Oh, wow.
And she played Dr. Kynes. So she's the black girl on the poster.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
And she basically called me up and said, do you want to be on my guest list to come to June at Leicester Square? And I was like, are you kidding me? So this is me at the June premiere. And I've got a lot of Cyberdog clothing and I hadn't worn this Cyberdog suit in quite a while. So I had to get it taken to the tailors so I could fit in it. But that was me at the June. That was me at the June premiere. It was a pretty funny photograph.
Yeah, I worked with an actress, a great actress, in July on a feature, and she was in Dune 2. She played one of the, what were the Sisters of the Order called again? Yeah.
No, I know the people you mean.
Yeah, she was one of them. She's great.
The ones who were trying to develop the line of the Kwisatz Haderach and
pulling the strings in the background.
I've got the book of it here because I had the book when I was a kid, right? And I started reading it, and I was like, "Oh, I can't get into this. I don't know what I've done with it now. It's on the shelf here for ages. Maybe I've moved it." And then I bought it because I thought, let me have another go at reading this because also I'm a novelist and I like to learn from the best. I started reading it again, and I was like, yeah, even though I've seen the movies and I'm kind of interested and I want to see how this stuff was written and how it translates to screen, I'm just not. I don't know what I've done with the book, clearly, but I just wasn't getting into it. I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah, he goes into a lot of external detail.
Yeah, there's a lot. What about TV shows? What are the TV shows that you're watching?
Yeah, a lot of sci-fi stuff, like on Apple. There's so much good stuff on Apple, but Apple don't really market.
Did you watch Pluribus?
No, me and my girlfriend are supposed to watch it very soon. We're trying to get through other things.
That's a good show to binge. That's a good one to sort of watch all in one go. You know, get a Sunday. Have you been to the IMAX Leicester Square yet?
Yeah, I saw the final part of Dead Reckoning on IMAX Leicester Square.
Empire Screen 1.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Oh, mate, that is my favourite cinema in London. And it used to be much bigger than that. It used to come way, way, way back. And they used to have a laser show in the screen before the movie started.
Yeah.
This is way before your time. That kind of wrapped up in the early 2000s. And then it shut, I think, around 2012. And I wanted to have the premiere of my last movie there. And I couldn't because they were showing Fury, the Brad Pitt film with the tank, was opening the same week. That they just wouldn't give me any time on the screen.
That was around 2014 probably then, right?
It was, 2014. Yeah.
Was that The Long Journey?
The Journey. It's good. The Journey.
Sorry, The Journey. Yeah.
The Journey. It felt like a long journey getting the film made. Yeah. You can. The whole film is on my YouTube channel. You can see it for free.
Oh, great. Okay, cool.
It was with a distributor for ages who tried to rip us off, and then a whole lot of other things happened. And in the end, I just was like, you know what? This film is sitting here on my computer. No one's getting to watch it. I'm fed up with this. I'm just going to put it on my channel.
Yeah.
And we also had a rights issue with this band that I really wanted to promote this band, and there's 2 of their songs in it, and I don't have the edit for the film on my edit suite anymore. So there's a lesson here, and unfortunately, that band who was with us represented by a certain music company, and we had the rights to the songs, but that music company dissolved and got bought out by a bigger company who then owned all the rights. And then when we tried to renew the rights for the film, just because YouTube flagged it as well, they were like, no, we're not going to give them to you. You have to pay £2,000. And we were like, oh, we haven't got £2,000. So, you know, well, tough. And so, like, you know, I couldn't delete the songs from the movie without doing a really difficult edit. Would have jeopardized the film. So I thought, I've either got the choice of putting it up as is or hanging on to it for forever until I've got that money to pay for those rights. And I don't know when that I'm going to have £2,000 to spare, you know? So, so that was that. So, yeah. Do you ever think you'll do the other side, writing, directing?
Yeah, at some stage for sure. Yeah, at some stage. I'm trying to learn as much as I can about all of it. As like when I was on set in July in Switzerland doing the feature, that was my first opportunity to really dive in and see exactly. Yeah, and because we were there for the entire month, so whenever I wasn't on set and whenever I wasn't on the call sheet for the day and I'd be around, I'd pop in to just see what the fuck is going on in terms of what everybody below the line, or you know, like the director and the DOP obviously are above the line, but like the director and how they're working, why they think this is good, what everything, lenses, all the talking to the sound guys, sound engineers, everything, just really trying to learn as much as I can. So because I do have that very much at the back of my mind, for sure.
Well, I mean, you know, some actors don't ever want to go there, and some actors have always got the intention of going there. And I think, you know, there's nothing wrong with having that ambition at all. Just do it at the time that's right for you, basically. And you'll know when that is. Right. Well, look, we're gonna wrap it up there. It's been absolutely fantastic having you on. I dare say you found it pretty useful.
Yeah, I did.
Great that we were able to have a casting director guest, although actor Jason Fleming was also willing to come on and have a chat with you. So, you know, either way, you would have had another guest. But it's been great. Now, the good news, Jackson, is that now you've been on here, you're considered to be an obligatory member of the Outcast Creative. What that means in tangible terms is that if you've got a project down the road, say a year from now, you're doing a short film and you're crowdfunding it on Kickstarter or something or whatever, GoFundMe, you can give me a shout and you can come on here and talk about the project and we will plug that crowdfunder for you. So we will definitely give you a spot. You've given us your time today. We will return the favor another time.
I really appreciate that, man.
Mate, it comes with all kinds of bells and whistles. So, yeah, so don't be afraid to call on us. As an actor, in terms of members of the Outcast Creative, people we've got that can give you an advice over an issue, I'll say the same thing I say to any young actor who comes on this channel, or indeed who reaches out to contact me. If I don't know the answer to your question, I will know somebody who does. So if you're ever unsure about something, particularly when it comes to contracts or anything where money is in jeopardy, as somebody who's personally been on the bad receiving end of that, please don't be afraid to reach out to myself. If it's a casting thing, write to Sharon, send her a polite message. Now she's met you, she will definitely reply. All right.
I appreciate that. That's great.
No problem. Just remember us down the road. Remember the conversation we had about the karma thing. All right.
Rising tide.
We are going to be back again this week with another industry interview, this time from the music scene with Gav Adam, who is a DJ and music producer. He runs the fearsome clubbing events in the UK. I just went to one on Saturday. In fact, I was dancing on the stage and he was next to me and I turned to him and went, "This is bloody brilliant, mate." And not realizing it was his event. That was pretty funny. So Gav is coming on to talk to me about Fearsome, which has been running since the 90s. And we're also going to be talking about music production and things like that, and also the tunes that they've created and getting into that world. So it'll be all about producing live music events in London that people can come and dance at. This is mainly within the hard house music scenes, EDM, that kind of thing. So if that interests you, come and check that out. We've got 2 more interviews within the next 2 weeks. I have got DJ Carly Denham coming in, who's a very well-known London house DJ. Her career has gone off like a rocket in the last couple of years. So really chuffed that she's given up some time to come in and see us, which is absolutely fantastic. And then I've also got a singer coming in who's a singer of a friend of mine, and I happened to catch a post on social media, and I just happened to post under it, well, you know what? I interview creatives. Maybe they would like to come on my podcast. And sure enough, Grace Palmer said, yeah, I'm up for that. And she is, I've listened to a load of her songs, exceptionally gifted singer-songwriter as well. So we'll be talking to Grace Palmer as well within the next couple of weeks. So that's all coming in the next couple of weeks, in addition to our weekly Tuesday review show of films and movies. And of course, on Sunday at 8 o'clock, my cousin Anna will be coming back with me to talk all things art production and design on Return of the King, the 3rd installment of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We have already covered the other 2, specifically talking about art production, the art department, costume production, design, which is an angle on it that people haven't really done specifically before, but I think it's an element of those films that makes them so fantastic. So Jackson, thanks so much, mate, for coming on, giving up your time. Thanks to all the people in the chat for taking part. Really do appreciate your comments and stuff. I know there was a couple of questions I missed, but I think we kind of covered them in some of the back and forth between Sharon and Jackson. So we did more or less get everything, I think. So that's going to be it for now. We will be back again. My interview with Gavin is on Thursday. I think it might be tomorrow. It might be tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So I think I'm actually back because it's Wednesday today, isn't it? It's Wednesday today. Yeah, I'm back tomorrow. I think I'm back on tomorrow at 8 p.m. is the next one. Wow, it's going to be a busy week this week. So yeah, don't forget what I always say, which is do keep in touch with the people that you care about. Tell them you love them. You know, we live in really weird times, and mental health is a top priority. So check on people. Don't just send them a text. Give them a call and make sure they're okay, because you know, January, February, bit of a miserable time in terms of weather and stuff. So spring is not yet here. Keep an eye on people. It's that kind of time of year. All right. Thanks very much from us. That's it from us tonight. We'll see you all again real soon. Bye.
Misfits and dreamers getting innovative. It's film, TV, and theater in the mix. Industry interviews where ideas get their fix. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Interviews with fellow artists on the rise, and reviews that might surprise. Films, TV shows from back in the day. You might just find a hidden gem today. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Filmmakers, comic book creators, stand up proud. Actors, musicians, board game designers, be loud. At Outcast Creative, amazing's the word. He even interviewed the legend, Galen Hurd. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the with Lance and the Outcast crew.